And it's time for another Living the B3 Way. Good afternoon, everybody. It's that time again. And we're going to talk today about living the B3 Way, helping you get to wellness one choice at a time. Today, I wanted to talk a little about what everybody struggles with. A lot of times it has to do with like just belief systems. People think a certain way because they have a belief system that feeds those thoughts. And I wanted to talk to you about that process of how do we stay motivated, or if we're not motivated, what can we actually do to address that? But before we get started, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Evan Messman. I am the founder and chief gratitude officer of Pro Attitudes, which is a health, wellness, and mindset coaching business. I work with really struggling professionals, VPs and C suites that are really working hard. I mean, till 1 o'clock in the morning sometimes at the expense of their health. They're struggling with their energy level. They don't have the energy they had 10, 15 years ago. They're struggling with stress and anxiety. Hey, who knows whether COVID's going or coming, and World War III is around the corner, hopefully in time. And thirdly, they're really afraid of getting to the doctor because of what the doctor's going to tell them regarding their hypertension, their diabetes, just their overall health status. And part of the challenge is that 660,000 people die every year from heart disease, a lot more than COVID. And nearly half of those people, do you know what the number one symptom is? It's sudden death. Yeah, that's right. They don't get a second chance. Well, looking here, this is your second chance. So hopefully learning to live the B3 way will help you become, be strong, and be grateful. That's the B3 way to live the life you've always dreamed of. So let's get back to really talking about this challenge that people have when it comes to belief systems. They struggle just getting out of bed. They hit the snooze button once, they hit the snooze button twice because they say, oh, I'm just not motivated to get up. But what is it that's preventing that person from doing it when you go to another person with that same challenge? They don't feel like getting out of bed and they do it anyway. Kind of like me. I'll get up regardless. I know that. I don't want to, but I do it. I've made it a habit. Well, what I like to do is to start with the whole concept of belief systems, our paradigms that we live by, that were created when we were children. And up until about the age of 7, they mold us and decide really how we're going to handle the world, how we see and perceive the world. Of course, it's a lot more complicated than that, but all that information influences us, but it's not relevant to the choices we make today. So, for instance, you might not want to get out of bed because you didn't have to when you were younger. Maybe you didn't have to get out of bed, or maybe it was that you had to get out of bed so early and you were struggling because you didn't want to go to school. Maybe you didn't get enough sleep because it was so noisy at home. Or there could have been other issues and excuses that happened that were very relevant, that influenced you, molded you, like your parents. You know, I remember my parents had a TV and it was very loud and I would hear it and it would keep me up late at night. I am an early bird for that reason. Also, I lived in a house that was completely covered by trees, so it was very dark. No matter whether the windows were open and the blinds were open or whether it was sunny out, that house was dark. So my house, it is big windows everywhere. There are virtually no blinds, and I want bright light. But all of this can influence us, but it's not relevant, like I said, to the choices we make today. Why? Well, let's work our way through a belief system. Our belief system, let's say it's over here, okay? So what comes after a belief system? Well, we get a thought that pops into our mind. We're not really sure of that thought, but what happens, because it could be an automatic thought or a subliminal thought, but then we get into a mood or a feeling. And that mood or feeling is probably what we're most aware of, but we don't know what it's connected to. We don't know that it's connected to that belief system or the thought. So we get the mood or feeling, and now that drives a habit or a behavior. That behavior, the behavior that you do then drives a habit. And that drives your life for the rest of your life. Every day in, day out, you do that. So part of what happens is people will work on trying to change their habits. But if you don't change the paradigm, you're going to keep following that same loop because it's really strong. That same loop that says, I cannot control my eating when I'm around my friends. I cannot exercise consistently because I don't know what was that paradigm that you have in your head that says I can't because I'm just too busy with work. I don't have the time. Whatever it may be, if we can change the paradigm, which can happen like that, I can change your paradigm like that, literally in a split second. Well, then what happens if your belief system completely changes? Your thoughts, your feelings, the moods, your actions, which lead to the behavior, which lead to the habits, suddenly change. But which one drives which? Well, changing a paradigm is huge and it's great. But what I will tell you that you can't depend on motivation for that to happen. It's important to, regardless of how motivated you are, to just focus on doing what you can do. Because sometimes taking action is what inspires us to move forward. Versus we are not inspired then to take action. We're first have to kind of get our heads around this and say, oh, we got to just do it. And sometimes, that's like getting up and doing that exercise routine that like I did this morning. I actually was in a good mood for it, but yesterday I was not. I didn't want to do it, and I did it anyway. But boy, did I feel great afterwards. But today, I was jazzed for it. Not a problem. So motivation's kind of fickle. It's not dependable. So if it's not dependable, why do you put so much power in being motivated? And so many people do. It's like, I can't stay on a diet. I can't exercise. I can't do the meditation. I can't do that daily practice. If you truly want to change, there's two ways. Either take action, regardless of your belief system, or change the paradigm. And if you want to learn how, come back next week and we'll talk more about this. Or join me for the Jumpstart Motivation Program, which I'm launching very soon. And take a look. I'll have posts for it. Okay, I have the introduction to it, but it's actually the program with my videos and really a simple way to just start looking at how 5-step process of how you can bypass motivation when motivation is not around for you. What a great way to break out of diet prison, to get you're springing into summer now that summer is around the corner. Spring's here. It's time to get to work. So if you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up down below in the comments and let me know what you're interested in me talking about for my next Facebook Live. Thanks for joining me, and go make it a great week.